Chapter 6 of Safe in Merrick's Arms, a short-lived intimacy. The following day was their final one at the hotel, and Summer and Merrick met as usual for their morning swim, lingering longer than accustomed over breakfast. Summer had noticed that Merrick approached his meals with care and anticipation, and that morning was no different. He ordered ackee and saltfish with callaloo, fried plantain, and fried cornmeal dumpling. His beverages tea with condensed milk. He first visually appreciated the steaming dish, enjoying the aroma, and then sampling each item with care, noting when he confirmed each time that it was good. At one time, he said, in between chews, I was in boarding school, and the cornmeal porridge in the mornings was the greatest thing ever. Whenever the baker in the district put out spice bun, some was delivered to the school tuck shop. When he put that with some cheese, oh my days. We had country food every day. Chicken foot soup, brown stew fish on Fridays, mackerel rundown. Lucky you, she said, enjoying watching him eat. I have always had to be careful about what I eat. No shellfish, not all fish, no tomatoes. I'm not even supposed to eat Christmas cake soaked with wine. He looked up at her, his eyes not staring directly in hers, as he was not sure how to take the conversation, so just waited as she continued. I have an autoimmune illness. I'm not even supposed to be an athlete in a sport that is played in bright sunshine, but my parents decided to support me if I promised to monitor myself closely. That has been very brave of you. You have done well. His voice was gentle. That's why I have to face giving it up now, she said. My body has been sending me messages, headaches, flashes behind my eyes, dizziness, and outbreaks. It is really hard for me to give up swimming, which is why I'm trying to find an occupation that will make me stay in the sport. They ate in silence for a while, and Summer got the impression that Merrick was turning around thoughts in his mind. But what could they be? She wondered. I know about giving up something that you really love. I work with the London Metropolitan Police Close Protection Unit. Let me start that over. I grew up with my father, who died the year I went to go to high school. I loved my father, and the family decision was to send me to boarding school and go home for the holidays to my sister. I was very sad, but then the kindness of staff and the students made me enjoy the years at boarding school. I loved being with kids, and I said the food was fantastic. At 15, my mother got married and I was sent to live with her in the UK. As I said, my stepfather was a pro-am cyclist, and in the off season, he had a bicycle repair shop. He still tours with the teams now as support staff. I got lucky and really loved living with him and my mother and, that family. He took some sips of his tea. Summer allowed him to be silent, then restart talking. When he did, he jumped over a whole decade of his life or more. I was assigned to Jamaica 2 years ago and realized that I wanted to live here, so resigned. He seemed to want to end the story there, as his eyes drifted from her to the beachfront, where the wind had picked up a bit and the waves were now lapping the shore. Summer said, that's a pretty interesting story, and she decided against probing. It was only 10 minutes after they had returned to their rooms, Summer just out of the shower, when he tapped on the connecting door, which she opened. His face was as rigid as stone. They know that we are here. We have to leave now. Take out every item of clothing from your bags. Painstakingly, they quickly but thoroughly went through every object in her bag and found a tracking device in Summer's handbag at the bottom of the compartment that would have held a bottle. Someone in this hotel gave the cartel access to our rooms while we were on the beach. He placed a tracker in his pocket. Summer remained calm because she now had confidence that Merrick would get her through any troubles and that stopped the panic in its tracks. Why worry when you can pray, were her father's words that came back to her from the book to the Christians in Philippi, which said, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Within 10 minutes, Merrick was calmly guiding Summa to walk at a normal pace beside him. She rolled her suitcase, and he carried his backpack. They did not know who was in the hotel spying on them, working with the cartel towards eventually delivering them into its clutches. The front desk receptionist did not look up as they passed, but when they did, she quickly called the back office for her manager. Miss B, rooms 115 and 111? They're walking to the car park with luggage, but they have not checked out. The front desk manager brought up the room information. They should be checking out today, and they do have an F&B ticket. She tapped through her files. There is an open check to a company name, so the charges will be billed to them, including the deposit if they did not leave the key cards. So should I allow security to let them pass? The receptionist wanted to make sure she did her job completely. Yes, don't stop them. Merrick carefully opened the car door for Summa and closed it when she was seated, then placed their bags by the back seat, and they calmly drove out of the property. The tracking devices were still active in his pocket.